Hi, I'm Josh with Woodland Mills, and this is our full-length walk-around video of the WC88 PTO-driven woodchipper. We're going to start right from how it comes in the box, how it's crated, how it gets set up, all of it's in detail, the features you're going to find, as well as how to use it, and we're going to show you the product in operation within this same video. I'm going to start by going over the crate dimensions and how it's packed. In front of me here is the crate. It's got a cardboard sleeve. It's a metal crate, fully packed on an integrated skid. It weighs just over 1,100 pounds. The skid is 45 inches by 49 inches wide and around 49 inches high. The product weight is about 1,050, so 1,050 pounds. Because of the weight and the size of the crate, we're going to include curbside tailgate delivery. So that's going to get the crate off of the truck, lower down to the ground, and onto the curbside. On top of the crate, I'm showing two of the most common accessories that get bought with the chipper. So we have a spare parts kit. This kit includes new blades or knives. It includes the anvil or bed plate and a set of replacement belts, as well as all the hardware you need to reinstall those and torque them to spec. You can also just get a blade set, again with the knives, no anvil, and the hardware required to retorque those to spec. The iron crate that's underneath the chipper in its packaging, there's 4 bolts that are going to remove the cardboard sleeve, and then the top of the iron crate comes off, and the chipper is going to be placed on its iron shipping skid. From there, you're going to be able to back your tractor right up, attach to the 3-point hitch connection, lift the chipper off of that crate, remove the crate, and then set it on the ground before you start your assembly. I want to walk over to the chipper now, and we'll start with how it's going to attach to your tractor and some of the features that you're going to find within the WC88. The assembly instructions can be found here in the manual tube, as well as a hardware pack with all the nuts and bolts you need to put the various pieces together. The chipper does come 90% assembled. So this discharge chute has to be bolted on with the 4 bolts. The INFEED chute is 4 panels. They all get bolted together. There's a gray bar here, the edge protection, and then there's the red safety bar, and that all gets assembled at the back and attached with these hinges. You can expect uncrating an assembly to take between 1 and 2 hours. You are going to need 20 liters or 5 gallons of hydraulic fluid to top up the reservoir tank before it's ready to use. But other than that, we've got this one assembled, we've got the fluid in it, and I want to go over how it attaches to the tractor and what kind of tractors it's compatible with. We've designed this to work on tractors between 35 horsepower right up through 100 plus horsepower. We can give you that range because the whole lower base is adjustable in height. So you can adjust the base to suit the size of tractor that you're connecting it to. The 3-point hitch connection is a category 1. And it's also quick attach compatible. So 3-point hitch, quick attach compatible, adjustable base, and it also comes with a PTO shaft that's trimmable. So you're going to be able to set this up, set the base height to get your PTO shafts aligned. The PTO shaft comes in the crate with the chipper, and it's adjustable in length and trimmable. And we cover how to trim it in the user manual. The PTO shaft is designed to be spun at 540 RPMs by your tractor. It's shear pin protected to protect the chipper from being overloaded. We're going to carry that 540 RPMs right through to our lower jack shaft. Now this lower jack shaft is 1.5 inches diameter. It's carried by 2 greasable flange bearings. It also drives straight through to the hydraulic pump, which helps with the infeed. On this lower jack shaft, we have a cast iron pulley with a stack of 4 belts. And I want to show you how those 4 belts, so this guard can be opened We've got a stack of 4 BX series belts, and they carry the 540 RPMs at the bottom, and we gear it up through the various pulley dimensions to get us 1100 RPMs on the flywheel. We carry a spring-loaded belt tensioner for easy maintenance and to keep the correct tension on the belts. The upper pulley is on a 2-inch main shaft, and this 2-inch main shaft goes all the way through, again, through 2 greasable flange bearings. The main flywheel is mounted on that 2-inch shaft, and you'll see as I open up the clamshell and close this guard how the main flywheel attaches and what we've done inside. So to open the clamshell, I've got this bolt just hand tight, and then the whole clamshell can open. So the reason we use a clamshell is for ease of access, because you do need to get in here. You're going to want to get in here to change the knives or the blades. You're going to want to get in here to reverse them. We've got a locking pin for the flywheel. So when you're changing the blades and you're working in here, you're going to want to lock it so that nothing spins. We've got sharp blades in here and sharp edges. So this locking pin can be installed and resecured. Now that I've got the lock in place, I want to talk about the shaft again. 2-inch main shaft carries through. You can see the flange bearing on the back with the grease fitting. You can also see the flange that's used and the bolts that are used to attach the main flywheel to that 2-inch shaft. This is a 1-inch thick, 24-inch diameter flywheel. It's been machine pocketed to embed the blades. You'll see the paddles on the back that have been cupped to keep the chips in place for discharge. The flywheel has 4 blades on it, and they're 4.5 inches long, and they have an overlapping cut in the middle. So what that does is, while this is spinning, we're only ever taking a 4.5-inch cut at a time. It smooths the load out when we're chipping. The blades are also sharpenable. Now, with regards to the locking pin, we made 4 locations in the flywheel so that when you're servicing the blade, you can lock it in each location. This will also give me an opportunity to show you how they're staggered. So as I spin this, you'll see there's an outer blade, there's an inner blade, and back to outer. And then there's the 4 holes every 90 degrees so that you're always servicing the blade in a convenient location, and you can do it without fear of the flywheel rotating on you. Now that we've seen how the flywheel works, I want to show you the INFEED system and how that brings the material into the flywheel and into the interface. And we'll start with the bed plate area, because there's 2 parts to cutting. So there's the knife edge in here, and then there's the square edge of the anvil, which the knife graces against. And between that, like a pair of scissors, it makes the cut. So we're going to start in here, and I'll show you the anvil and the interface. So this anvil, or bed plate, is adjusted with these 3 bolts. It adjusts in and out, and it's fixed on this plate here. So that it has a specified clearance between the edge of the anvil and the edge of the blade, and you just maintain that clearance and check that clearance, and those adjustments are done here. The anvil is 4 times reversible, so every edge of the anvil can be used. So you have 4 sharp edges on your anvil. It's flippable in both directions. As we come around to the back now, you're going to see the INFEED chute. We'll get a glimpse of the INFEED roller. And we're also going to see the hydraulic system. So I want to touch on, at the bottom here, I mentioned that lower jack shaft is a direct drive to the hydraulic pump. And in behind this gray box is a Lovejoy connection to connect those 2 and transfer the power directly from the PTO shaft at the 540 RPM straight through to the hydraulic pump. The hydraulic pump picks up its fluid from the tank and then pushes the pressure up to the control valve. Now the control valve can do forward, neutral, and reverse, and that's going to control the infeed of the material coming into the chipper. But we also have a speed control or flow control, and this will allow us to dial up and dial down the speed of the infeed drum or the infeed roller, to adjust it based on the size of the material, the horsepower of the tractor, and what we're trying to do with the chipper at that time, fine chips or coarse. So this is our speed control. You'll see our springs that apply the pressure downward on the infeed roller as the material goes in. So as the material goes in, this is going to lift up against the pressure of the springs and push the material between our lower rollers. These lower rollers reduce the friction during the infeeding process, and they keep the material slightly off the lower deck of the infeed chute. As we move back, you'll see we have a control arm attached to our control valve here. We go right back, you'll see the red bar allows us to actuate forward, neutral, and reverse. We also have a system for latching the infeed chute. So when the infeed chute is in the down position, you're going to want to have it locked in place. And then for the storage or transport position, you're going to be able to unlock it and fold it up, which I'll show you in a minute. As we come around to the back, again, you're going to see the control bar. We have out is forward, one notch in is neutral, all the way in is reverse. The infeed chute has a 25 by 27 infeed opening. So that allows you to take large brushy material, get the end started. You can look down the chute here and you'll see the infeed roller. It's an 8 1/4 inch diameter with chisel knives attached. We've got our clear panels here which stop anything from tumbling back at you. And you'll see the lower rollers just at the bottom there that keep the material up off the lower infeed chute. We've added this 3/4 inch bar around the rear, and that stops hang-ups and material from getting caught on the edge of the infeed chute. So as limbs and branches come up, you'll see it later in the videos, they're dragging along the bottom here, and this creates a wear edge. It also creates a nice smooth edge for all the material to get dragged in. As we come around to the far side, I want to show you the service points for the infeed roller. So we do have 2-point flange bearings with a grease fitting on them. So these can be maintained. And you'll get a better view of that hydraulic pump, as well as the reservoir tank and the filler location. The filter's built into the tank. So as you're pouring the fluid, you'll be pouring it right through the filter. As well on the inlet line, there's a secondary filter. I want to now detach the control arm, and I'm going to flip this up and show you how it can be stored. First, I'll start with the clamshell. And then I'll start with the rear infeed chute. So for this, no draw latches. The pin comes out of the valve control, and we have a location for it to keep it all attached. And then it lets you use the red handle as your grab handle when you're flipping it up. So the red handle can now be used as a grip point, and then there's a secondary handle that lets you lower it down. When this infeed chute is flipped up, it's actually resting on a rubber pad that we've installed here on the top of the infeed roller carriage, so it doesn't damage any of the finishes. And next I want to talk about the discharge chute and the deflector. So I'm going to have to put the infeeder down, and I want to show you how the discharge can be rotated 360 degrees. It's got a locking pin, which I'll show you in here. You put it to its open position. You can rotate it all the way around 360. And it'll lock back in position wherever you'd like. Now above we've got the chip deflector. And the chip deflector allows you to place chips either close to the chipper or far away depending on what you're trying to do with it. And then it's a simple turn to lock. I also want to cover our chainsaw holder, which is a part we install here on the back side of the chipper, out of convenience so that you can bring your chainsaw with you when you're heading into the woods. So your chainsaw bar can go down through the slot here. The body rests on here and it can be snugged into place so it doesn't rattle around while you're taking it with you. So now that we've done the walk around, I want to bring in a tractor. We'll get this hooked up. We're going to be running it on a tractor in the lower end of the PTO or recommended PTO horsepower range. But we want to show you what it'll do at that lower end, how it works, how it infeeds, and how it makes chips. Let's get started. All right, so I've got a good little selection put together. Again, it's some cherry wood and some ash, you know, 2-inch stuff, small stuff, right up some larger 5-6 inch diameter. I'm gonna go ahead, get the tractor started. I'll get the PTO engaged. I'm gonna get the discharge chute locked where I want it. We'll get the tractor spooled up and I'll come and show you how it works. So you can see from the demo there that we had lots of varying diameters of material. We had some small stuff, we had some larger stuff, right up to the limit of what my tractor could chip in terms of the horsepower it has and the size of the infeed here. Part way through one of those large chips, I pulled it out to show you one of the cut marks. So you're going to see the 4-inch pass on the log and then the next blade mark. And that's just showing that at no point are we doing more than a 4-inch pass, so it really tries to smooth it out. And you'll see with this horsepower, which is right in around the 35 mark, I'm able to chip 6-inch material, 5-inch material. There's a few different ways to throttle it. You can use the pulse method with the control bar, and you'll see you just let the flywheel recover, and you work it just for that larger section. Most of that large stuff I'd consider firewood. I think most people would, especially if it's hardwood, like a cherry or an ash. But for example, I just wanted to show you, because of the way the flywheel's designed and the way the chipper's designed, it's capable, even at the low horsepower range, of putting good sized material through. And the 8x8 opening, even though it allows for that larger piece, it really also makes it convenient for smaller stuff with branches, with Y sections, stuff that would have to be trimmed down to be a little straighter to fit in a 6x6 chute or a 4x4 chute. So with that in mind, you saw the pulse method. We also had the speed control on the side, and you saw how I could work that. I mean, if you're consistently doing large pieces, you could set that speed to help. If it's just occasionally you go through something that's a lot larger, then the pulse method seems to work. I hope you found this video informative. This has been Josh with Woodland Mills, the WC88.